you have things that you do differently, I'm open to learn from you guys too. I am not a cold caller. I hate being on the phones. I really enjoy passive lead generation. I'm trying to get better with active lead generation, but it's just been a struggle for me. I'm in my 5th year and I have yet. I keep saying, I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to start making calls. And I just don't. It's just, it feels very unnatural to me. I don't like to be called, so I don't like calling other people. So farming is something that came very naturally to me, and it was something that I felt that I could do, and something that would not go against my own sense of morals and things that I want done. So how do you pick a farm? I'll start there. So what is farming? Farming is like passive lead generation in the sense that you pick a neighborhood that you enjoy. You pick a neighborhood that you feel like you can connect to the residents there. You pick a neighborhood that has a high volume of closings. And hi, Peter. Hey, Peter. So,
Hello.
hey, Peter. You don't have to mute yourself, but that's fine. So how you choose that? They, different people say different things. Some people say they want like a 10 to 20% turnover rate in their neighborhood. So how you figure that is you look at. So I've pulled everything up on the MLS here. So I go in and I find out what is sold in the past year. So I'm looking at all the solds here. You go into the MLS, look at all the solds for the past year. I just pulled this up today. And do not put in the subdivision. Okay, don't do that because not every agent puts in the subdivision, and you don't want to miss out on a sale in that area because the agent didn't put the subdivision in. So I just go ahead and I map it out. So I put in solds for the past year, single families. I do put in the zip code to kind of narrow in my map. And then I just draw a map around the neighborhood. Okay, and so there were 47 sales this past year, which seems like a lot, but we don't know because we don't know how many homes are actually in this neighborhood. So you can go to Realist. Let me move you guys over here. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I go to Realist. Do you guys know how to get to Realist from the MLS? Okay, I'm going to show you. Let me get out of that. So I have 2 Realist screens up so I don't miss my map. So if you're in Realist, you go to your menu, and under the search is taxes right here. You see that? And Realist tax info. This is one way you can get to Realist. Click on Realist. Go to My Search. Click on My Search, and then I go and I put in just the zip code. So it's 43004. All of my business is mostly on the east side. So for all you Dublin folks, sorry, this is what I know. And then you go down to subdivision and then select from a list. And what's gonna pop up a screen, type in Cedar Run and click search. From here, you wanna click all of the different sections. Section 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, however many sections there are. Cedar Run, Cedar Run, Cedar Run. Guys checking out my clicking skills. Okay, then click apply. Now, and then when you get back to this screen, you're going to click search. And what it's going to do is going to tell you how many houses are actually in that subdivision. This is the same thing that your title company can do for you too. But if you just want to kind of go in and do some preliminary searches, you can. So this is telling us that we have 519 results. So, and they're all right there in the subdivision. You guys see that? Okay. It's really hard to talk to myself. All right, so how do you figure out what the percentage is? So 10%, 8 to 10%, in my opinion, is pretty good. Because once you get to the point where you are doing 25% or more of the sales in that particular neighborhood, you are considered the neighborhood expert and you are considered to have market share in that neighborhood. But the 8 to 10% is the overall sales in the neighborhood. If you can get a 20% turnover in that, that's a really good neighborhood to farm in. Because what you don't want is to farm a neighborhood that only 1 or 2 houses a year selling, because you're going to be spending money, you're going to be spending time and energy and effort. You want some sales out of that. So to get to that, so we take 47 sales that we had from the MLS, right? Total for that year was 47 out of, divide that by 519 total homes in the development right here, and you get like 0.09. So that's about a 10% turnover. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that's why I chose Cedar Run for a couple of reasons. One, I fell in about 5 years ago. I went to that neighborhood. It was one of my very first showings. It's the very first time I ever showed a 5-level split. It was on Flowering Cherry was the name of the street. And the neighborhood was just so cute. And the homes were a little newer. And so I started doing some research and started looking around. And I kept hearing about farming, and I was like, didn't want to farm. I didn't live in a house. You know, they always say farm your own neighborhood, but I didn't live in a house. So I couldn't farm my own neighborhood. So this was the very first neighborhood that I drove through that I felt like I could sell here. I could sell these houses, and the price points were good. I always think that you should be in that 200 to 500 range when it comes to farming, because those are the ones that have the highest turnover. You can farm higher priced neighborhoods, but you're not going to get as much turnover. And we want to really stay in that 10 to 20% range. So what do I do to farm them? So now that I know how many homes are in the neighborhood, that's a decent amount. It's a smaller amount. There's some agents who farm and they farm a whole zip code. And, you know, there's other agents who will do, you know, developments that are much bigger than this. But I felt like around 500 was pretty good, and it was manageable. Ryan Reynolds is the king of farming. He does door knocking. He did door knocking when he first started in the industry. He did 500 doors a month. He would knock all of the doors. He had a very systematic way of doing that. So if you want more details on that, listen to Ryan Reynolds. You can listen to his story on Troy's podcast on Columbus Closers. He, you know, talked about what he did and how he did it. And Ryan's a good guy. If you just ask him what he did, he'll tell you. But I don't door knock. I just send out mailers. So what I do every month is I send out a postcard, and this is what it looks like. Move this over. So I send a market update every month. Every month I'm in their mailbox. I send the address, the number of beds, bath, the list price, the status, days on market, and when they sell, the sold price. And I send this to my title company, who has a guy who puts this together for me. And on the back is just, the title company's information and the homeowner's address information. And I send these out every single month, every month. Now, I also send out a newsletter. So I hit my farm twice a month with something in their mailboxes. So I also send a newsletter, and I can show you what my newsletter is very simple. I'm not one of those people that put recipes and all that. I'm too high D, high C for that kind of stuff. I want to give people information. I don't want to just give them, I think it's kind of silly, if you ask me. That's just my personality. If you do that, great. I envy you, because I don't always have that kind of personality. So this is what my newsletter looks like. And I send this out once a month too. So I wait until the 5th day of the month to send over all of the market update information to the title company, because that gives agents time. Like, we have 3 days, I think, 2 or 3 days to get the information into the MLS, so that I have accurate information. Let me increase my screen so you can see this a little better. So this is my newsletter. Every month it goes out, and I, have an article that I pull, and I change the picture. I put in a different article every month. The front, to me, in my mind, and I'm very systematic about how I do everything. So the front is for sellers, because that's really what I'm going for, and the back of the newsletter is for buyers, and it bifolds, and they put that little wafer on it, and it gets sent out. And my title company's information goes here, the homeowner's address and information goes here, and this newsletter goes out every single month as well. Then I also do some Facebook marketing. This is something that you can get from command. And I send this out, and I run the ad around this. And this is that, I don't know if you guys have seen this little video. This is the older one. This was about 3 months ago. It gives it thing for your app. That's pretty cool. So I ran an ad around that, and it just kind of said, Cedar Run is one of my favorite neighborhoods in Blacklick. Fun fact, I am really committed to knowing what's going on where we live. Let's chat about your neighborhood. This guy is hilarious. Anyways, so I do some Facebook marketing around that. And I also, every single time I have a listing or I have a buyer in my neighborhood, in my farm, I send out just listed. I do just listed to the whole neighborhood. I don't do just normal buyers or normal listings. I will do, well, for listings, I do 200 mailers around a radius of the address. But if it's in my farm, I do the whole neighborhood. Just listed, do the whole neighborhood. In contract, do the neighborhood. Just sold. And I do a big open house. I do what's called a mega open house. If any of you follow Tom Ferry, I kind of do what he suggests with getting the signs out like on Tuesday or Wednesday of the week. I always do open houses from 2 to 4 on Sundays. I think that's the best time to do it. You get more traffic that way. So on Wednesday of that week, signs are going out. And I have a very systematic way. I get a map together and I send that to my runner, and they put the signs out on all the major street corners, all of the subdivision corners, and then there's smaller directionals that go inside the neighborhood. And then we do flags out in front of the house on the day of the open house. There's Facebook marketing that goes into place for open houses. I love open houses. I think they're awesome. But if it's in my farm, we go all out and do it big there. So that's kind of how I do farming. Now, my very first success was so the key to all of this is being consistent. You have to be consistent. You have to give it time to work. You know, I've heard different people say different things. They say if you can't afford to do it for at least a year, don't even start, because it takes time to get some traction. But from my experience, I've been on and off. I've done it on and off for the past several years, but I've just now started being really, really consistent with it. But the very first time that I sent out mailers to Cedar Run, I got a call maybe my third month. And she called and she said, "Hey, Lisa, we've been getting your mail. We want to talk to you about listing our house." And I was like, yes, it's working. And I, went on a listing appointment and did not know that I was competing, but I was competing against another agent. I didn't find this out until afterwards. So went through and, did the listing appointment. And it was great and it was wonderful. And I was like, "Are you guys ready to go?" And they were like, "Yeah, but it's late, so let us sleep on it. We'll call you in the morning." And they did. They called me back and they said, "We just want to let you know that we interviewed another agent who was a referral from my sister, and you blew her completely out of the water." And I was like, I didn't even know I was competing. Oh my gosh, I didn't ask that question. But I sent out a pre-listing package. And if you guys want to take a peek at my pre-listing package, I'm happy to share that too. I always send out a pre-listing package because it's more branding and it's, more things for them to know that you got your stuff together. They got the pre-listing package. They had everything filled out. And they were like, "We want to list with you because you are just on top of everything." And I was like, awesome. So that was my first win from farming. And then I slacked off later that year and then started back up again. And when I started back up again, within 1 month of me sending postcards, I got a call. So farming works. And the first time that I sent it out, that first lady, she came downstairs. She had a stack of my postcards. She had kept them because she was watching the market. So the people that are ready to list and people that are thinking about selling are going to be the people who, when you show up to their house, they're going to be the ones that have been watching your stuff. So those have been some wins. I've had three listings come out of farming, and I've only been doing it consistently for about 1.5 years now. But prior to that, it was kind of spotty. So I'm looking forward to having even more successes with it. But yeah, that's kind of my system and what I do and how I do it. Do you guys have any questions? Please have some questions. Somebody talk to me.
Hey Lisa, you said 20 to 30% for the would be a good ratio for sales in the last year. Is that hard and fast, or like what have you had the most success with, or has seen the most success with as far as neighborhood sales and farming?
Not 20 or 30%. That 20 or 30% number, like really it's like 25% is when you're actually considered, when you as an agent are considered to have market share in a particular neighborhood. So
Gotcha.
So if you're selling 25% of the houses of all of the sales, if you're selling 25% of those, then you're the go-to person in that neighborhood.
Okay.
The 10 to 20% is the turnover rate. So if out of 100 houses, if 10 or 20 of them are selling in that neighborhood, then that's a good turnover rate.
Right. I think that's what I was asking more is what's a good turnover rate for a neighborhood to farm? So 10 to 20%. Okay.
Yeah, 10 to 20%, and it just depends on what your goals are. Like for me, I'm still relatively, I call myself new in the business because I'm comparing myself to people who have been in the business for like 30 years. People have been telling me like I'm not new anymore, but I still feel like I'm new in comparison to them. So, you know, I'm looking for any listing because every listing is an opportunity, and every listing is a way for you to get your branding out, is a way for you to get your name out, is a way for you to get buyers, it's a way for you to build relationships with sellers. Like that first person, my first win for farming, like I love those people so much. We built a great, wonderful relationship, and they are now investors. They're getting ready. They called me, she's retiring, she wants to start a new business. And I'm like, I know what you should do. You should become an investor. And they took me up on it, and they're sitting with my lender this week. And, you know, so that's going to turn into multiple sales. They did not buy immediately. They wanted to stay in an apartment. But the beautiful thing about a lot of the farming things is that, you know, the one other time, like I have a listing that's coming up next week. We're taking pictures next week. She called me and she was like, Lisa, we already feel like your family, and we feel like we know you. We see you every month. So you're building rapport with these people and you don't even know them, but they feel like they know you because they see you every month. So I like that because I'm a relationship builder more so than I am a transactional realtor. So that was like, that's gold to me. I'm waiting to get to the point where I'm at 25% and see a run, and I'm just going to be on cloud 9.
Thanks for all that great information, Lisa. This is Karen Tingley Warren.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. So when you say you go all out when you have open houses, what do you mind sharing what it is that you do there?
Yeah, so my signs go out like on Tuesday or Wednesday of the week. That I always do open houses on Sundays. So that week leading up to that Sunday, signs go out on Wednesday, and there's a bunch of them. So there's signs that go out on the major streets, and then I work my way from the outside in, from the major streets that lead into the neighborhood, into the like side streets, and then subdivision streets, and then directionals go inside there. So that happens. They get a open house invitation in the mail. So that's another mail touch point. So they get an open house invitation. I do ads around the open house invitation on Facebook. I'm supposed to call the neighborhood, and it's one of those layering items that I don't do that I should do because, again, like I said, I don't like calling people. But if I was doing it the proper way, I would call to invite them. I would door knock and hand them the actual invitation myself and say, hey, we're having an open house on Sunday. Would love for you to come. Here's your it's a special invitation. You're supposed to do an hour before the actual open house. So like I do mine from 2 to 4. So from 1 to 2, you should have a neighbors only private viewing of the house, just to, you know, get some one-on-one time on some possible sellers that are going to be in the neighborhood. And you always want to get, because I don't know about you guys, when you guys do neighborhood, when you do open houses, I always get the neighbor that, oh, we just wanted to see what they did with the house. And, oh, we're just nosy Nellies and we just want to come and see. Well, I don't need you in there when there's 50 other people trying to get in here. So you want to knock them out in the beginning and, you know, make them feel like they're special. Well, they are special. I'm not of that mindset where you make people feel a certain way kind of thing. Like, no, they are special because they could be potential sellers. And if you've been mailing out to the neighborhood, then they already they know you, they know your face. And so you want to meet, it's an opportunity to meet them. So do a special neighbor 1 hour before the actual open house. You know, we do flags and balloons and, you know, all of that.
Serve snacks, foods, drinks? Do you?
That's coming up. That's coming up. It's on my list of things to do. Again, I have a system for everything. Now, whether or not I implement it is a whole nother thing. Like I had another sale, and I was so mad at my seller because she's actually a friend of mine that's in Cedar Run, and she did not want me to do an open house. She was like, nope, I want to get it sold because it's sold in a day. So she's like, nope, I want to get it done quick. And I'm like, I want to do an open house. I need to do it. It's in my farm. And but she didn't want it. So, we have to do what we're told. But yeah, she didn't let me do it. But yeah, that was going to be because again, I'm just now getting to the point where I'm back up and running and doing all the things that we're supposed to do post COVID and all that good stuff. So yeah, snacks, but I'm not gonna like go all out because I spend a lot of money in marketing.
Right.
I'm not gonna do like
Okay.
crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get numerous people coming to the open house all at once, how do you handle that? And are you doing this by yourself or?
Yeah, I do. Well, I haven't had open houses to the point where it's been super crazy in a while.
Especially now, right? So
Yeah. But I remember one time I had a listing in Worthington, and there was so many people in there. I just gave up. I just stood in the corner of the kitchen and just stood there. And whoever I could talk to, I talked to. When there's 100 people walking through the door, there's just no way you can manage that.
wow.
Yeah. There's just, there were so many, I couldn't move. That was like 4 years ago. Now as an agent, I could probably manage that a little better because I would say, look, you guys take turns at the door. I need to be able to see and know who's walking through my client's house. But I haven't had a crazy open house like that in a long time.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else?
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Is that what you guys were expecting? Is there anything I didn't cover?
Oh, you did a great job, I feel. Thank you.
You're welcome, Karen.
You said you were going to potentially show a pre-listing presentation. Did that happen and I just glossed over?
No, I can show you what my pre-listing package looks like. It is, well, I need to move this over. Let me get into my Google Drive. Now it's I'm just going to show you the pages, but it's actually in a folder. It's in a folder. And there's two sides of the folder, of course, and I'll just show you. And I learned this from at Family Reunion. So I don't take any credit for this. This was definitely an R&D, rip off and duplicate situation. And
Flattery is the best form of imitation, they say.
What'd you say?
I said flattery is the best form of imitation, I've heard.
Absolutely. So on one side, it says fun homework. This is the little sheet that sits on top. And then I have a VIP questionnaire, and it's just asking like, what's your birthday, wedding anniversary stuff. So, what's your favorite restaurants, your adult beverages, anything else you want to tell me? 10 things you love about your home, your neighborhood, or your community. This is all the fun stuff. And your motivation profile, like how long do you expect your home to be on the market? Are you willing to make improvements? On a scale of 1 to 10, rank your motivation. Any items that are staying with the house. I want to know what's staying and what's going. 47 ways to make your home sell faster. This is out everywhere. You can find this everywhere. And then on the other side is the not so fun homework.
Mm.
And this is where I put the consumer guide, the residential property disclosure, the lead-based paint disclosure. And then I ask them, when please have this available when we meet, extra keys to the house, the completed disclosures, any condo or HOA docs, and your title policy if you lived in a house for less than 10 years. And this is a letter. I turned this into a letter. This is a letter that goes on the front of it. And I sign them and print them out and sign it. And that goes on top of the folder. So this goes in the folder and that goes on top of the folder and it goes into an envelope and I hand write it. And then I have my runner deliver it, hand deliver it.
So then at what point in the, do you give them that and then have the actual listing presentation?
So as soon as we get off the phone and they want me to come and do a listing appointment, I send this out immediately. I schedule the listing appointment if I can, right? If I can, I schedule it so that I have time to get this to them ahead of time. So at least 2 days before the actual listing appointment, because my runner can get out there pretty quickly. He's awesome. Steve Wood is who I use in the office.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty brand new at all of these, at everything. So, and I've totally missed the ball on where you even get listing presentations and pre-listing presentations. And is this material, would you mind sharing your material with me? I live all the way out in London, Ohio, so I promise I won't go near your farming area.
Oh gosh, I am not worried about that. What you'll find out, Karen, is with Keller Williams, we don't come from that mindset of scarcity. We are willing to share and help and give, and because as you grow, we all grow. So we don't have that mentality of like, oh no, I'm going to keep all my stuff to myself and not share because I don't want you to go get my business. There's enough business for everybody. And if you work hard and it's what's yours is yours and what's going to come to you is going to come to you. So no, I am absolutely willing to share. And to be in full transparency, I didn't get to where I am without people sharing with me. So Troy has given me so much and has done so much for me in my business in the beginning. And, we've built such a great relationship over the years. But anything that I needed, he was like, yep, just call Jillian. She'll give it to you. No problem. So I had help along the way too. So I don't mind paying that forward. But as far as my personal listing presentation, I had it made. I have a graphic designer that made it for me, but Command in Designs has it all.
Yeah.
Listing presentations, buyer consultations. I don't know if there's a pre-listing in there or not, but I think there might be. I haven't looked at it because I haven't needed it because I have my own.
Gotcha.
But Command has in Designs has it all, and you can personalize it, all of that.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else? I think I lost some people.
No, you were just so thorough at sharing everything. So it didn't turn into an hour.
Yeah, well, I'm slated for 45 minutes, so I just want to see if anybody else has any questions or anything. I don't want to cut it short. But farming is pretty simple. I mean, in my mind, it's simple. It's passive. You can make it active. You can definitely make it active by doing the door knocking and calling and all of that. But this is just my way of doing it. I've had some sense of success with it. I mean, it's definitely paid for itself over the 3 or 4 listings that I've gotten because of farming.
Well, I agree with you that method because I feel like the more they see you, the more they're going to remember you and be more familiar and become more comfortable with you.
The other thing that I'll tell you to do too is do previews in your farm. Well, you should be doing previews in your previews overall. But in your farm, you definitely want to be doing previewing properties. So when a property hits the market, you need to go see it. Even if you don't have a buyer, just you can schedule an agent preview and I can show you how to do that. This is also how I wowed my very first my very first thing, you know what? No, let me do it this way. Do it this way. Let's look at what's active here. Let me find an active property. $8702 Crooked Maple. 870. Oops. 702 Crooked. Do a showing request. Schedule a shingles showing, single showing. So that's just, and so appointment type instead of showing, you can do agent preview.
Oh, gotcha. Perfect. You're the first
Yeah.
one who pointed that out.
Yeah. So do an agent preview and just go and just walk it
Yeah.
and see the house. And then, you know, you go into the listing appointment and you can say, oh yeah, that house on Crooked Maple. Yeah, I just saw that a couple days ago and it has this and it has that. And so you have real comparisons. And you become the neighborhood expert. And I would do this consistently. Like I have it slotted on my calendar every week to do
the previews. Yeah.
to do well, I do FSBO previews, and then I also do farm preview. So every week I'm, you know, taking an hour and going in and looking at the houses that are on the market in my farm.
It's a great idea.
It really helps you learn. It helps you learn the layout, the floor plans, and what houses have this, and so you know, you get real familiar with the neighborhood. So this summer we're going to be, well, we were supposed to be doing some events in the neighborhood, because the other wonderful thing about Cedar Run is that there's a city park in the middle of it, Cedar Run Park.
Oh.
And so we wanted to do like an ice cream social food truck kind of thing and have it sponsored with, you know, me and my lender and title company, home inspector. I was going to do that, but, you know, COVID has stopped everything. Right. So we'll slate it for next year. We'll do it next summer. But yeah, just, you know, becoming the go-to person in the neighborhood. That's your goal. It's not just about the listings. It's about, you know, learning the neighborhood and knowing everything about it.
Do you have any key points that you actually discuss with those potential listing, you know, sellers when you're trying to, you know, assure them you're going to give them the best service? Are there key points that you touch on, like you're here when a situation, if it's a multiple offer situation, here's how you'll go about negotiating?
For me, every listing appointment that I've gone on, it's been my listing presentation kind of takes them through, and it shows them that, you know, I know what I'm doing. And because I've done all the preliminary work, they know that I know what I'm doing. So especially in my farms, a regular listing appointment that's outside of my farm, it's all about your confidence. And you know, talking points. And as far as talking points, I stick to my presentation, and I just kind of go through and explain each page. First of all, I ask them, have you read it? Because I've already sent it to them. Right. In my pre-listing package, I send that, and then I also send my listing presentation inside of it, because it's kind of thin. The way that I have it printed, I wish I had one. I've packed everything up, otherwise I'd show you what it actually looks like, but it's pretty thin. And so I stick that inside there too. So I'm hoping that when I walk in the door, I don't have to do a whole lot of talking, and I don't have to do a whole lot of proving to them that I know what they're blown away by the time I walk in the door, because I've done all the legwork prior to.
Great. Yeah.
So if it's not in my farm, they've gotten my pre-listing package. When I talk to them on the phone, I've totally pre-qualified them. I've asked all the questions prior to me showing up at the door, so that my goal is that when I get to the house, all I have to do is walk the house, see if they have any, you know, other questions, and get right to the paperwork. I like, me personally, I like signing paperwork at the listing appointment. I want to walk out with signatures. I don't want to send them documents via dot loop and have them just scroll through. I want them to understand what they're signing, so that there's no miscommunications. And you can't possibly think that people are reading those documents, because they're not. They're like scroll through, click, because you can see how fast they sign each one. It's like click, 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 boom, done. I don't like that. I want them to know, and I want to take the time to explain everything and have them sign it with me.
So would you then have 2 copies when you can leave with them, or?
No, I tell them I'm gonna take these with me, and I'll scan them in, and I'll email you a copy.
Okay.
Yep. I'm not in a rush. Listings are so important to me. There's people that want to do listings and, do listing appointments in 20 or 30 minutes. To me, that's absurd.
Yeah.
That's just me. Other people are going to say something different. But you're handling somebody's greatest asset, and you just want to go in and get out in 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I want to take time, and when you go in and you rush people like that, they know.
Now, I recently,
but if you want to take your time with them and let them know that you're there for them.
I recently was having a conversation with someone in my circles that has a huge opinion of a realtor that's been in the business for about 18 years, and that they somehow have this bag of tricks because they are, so that's the person that they would use. They wouldn't think of using anyone else because somehow they have in their niche, they have some extra knowledge or bag of tricks when it comes to negotiating contracts. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think there's any real magic formula, but you do have to be creative, in your.
Well, bag of tricks is one thing.
That was my word. That's my word. They didn't say bag of tricks, but I'm like, just creativity.
Well,
they're creative and very informed about how to go about that whole process.
Yeah. I do say that too. I let them know I'm
address somebody when they were to say that to you, like, well, I would rather use this person because I feel they're going to be able to be the best at negotiating my deal because of their reputation and like, well, other people might be also good at it. But yeah, would you know of a way to respond to that? Like, just because I'm newer, they wouldn't think of using me because this other person's been in the business so long. And somehow a newer agent wouldn't have, that, and maybe there's some truth to that, but I also think that if you have common sense, you, even though you haven't been at it, maybe you don't have the experience of another agent, but I feel like common sense is mostly at play when it comes to negotiating. And
I totally disagree.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. I've learned how to negotiate in this business by doing and by having transactions and being put into situations where I had to think about it, and I had to go to the people in my office and say, oh my gosh, how would you handle this? And how would you handle that? And that's one of the other good things about being at Keller Williams is you can go knock on someone's door. You can pick up the phone and say, hey, I need help. And they're absolutely willing to help you. Negotiations are not common sense. And we all know that common sense is not common. So being a tough negotiator, and tough, not in the sense that you're trying to manipulate people into doing certain things, but there are ways I've won multiple offer situations because I knew how to do it. And I knew how to talk to my clients about it. I knew how to talk to the other agent on the other side about it. I knew how to manipulate certain things in the contract. And I only knew that from talking to people who have been in the business way longer than I have. you know? So I would agree that there is some advantage to being a really good negotiator, because not all agents are. Some agents, you know, they know how to sell, but they don't know necessarily how to pick apart. They don't really fully know the contract enough to be able to pick it apart, to be able to manipulate it. Right? They don't know all the ins and outs of, you know, you can read that contract, but there's certain caveats to it that you probably wouldn't know unless you've been in the game for a while. There's some things that I've learned from Tim Rio in this past year that just completely blows my mind. And, you know, so I would agree with them that, yeah, experience is everything. So if you're new in the business, then what you say is, you know what, I totally respect that. And, you know, it's great to have loyal people like yourself that are loyal to agents. That is the lifeblood of our business. But I would love the opportunity to apply for that job as well. And I can guarantee you that, because I'm with the largest office in the city, and that's another benefit of being with Keller Williams Consultants. We are the largest office and highest producing office in the city. I have access to almost 300 agents in my office, and we are very, very strong in the market. And I have, you know, those people at my beck and call, literally. I know I'm new, but that doesn't mean that, you know, the people that are with me, my team is not new.
Right. Well,
So
yeah.
you have you're not just working with me, you're working with 300 of the top agents in the city.
Perfect. Yeah, I didn't mean to say experience didn't trump, because I know that
Yeah.
also is very
No,
valuable.
I'm saying, no, I was really just honing in on how do you become a good negotiator? You become a good negotiator through experience, and you become a good negotiator through having stuff, having, you know, for lack of better terms, having the shit hit the fan in a contract. It's really, you learn on your feet in this business. I'm a bookworm, and I'm a education junkie, which is why I'm on the education committee. But I can tell you that I've learned more from each and every transaction that I've done than I could ever learn in a classroom.
Is there some material you could there is out there to read up on negotiating skills and ways to negotiate multiple offers and things like that?
I would say every time that there's a class in the office, attend it.
Yeah.
Talk to people. Are you on a team, Karen? Or are you single?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm solo for now.
Oh, okay. So
We're getting on a team, but I'm not even at this full time. I'm helping my fiance in his business, so I'm actually only able to work at this part time right now. But in September that changes. So then, yeah, I'm gonna really be stepping up my game on things.
Yeah. So what I would tell you is form relationships with agents in the office, somebody that's experienced, somebody that has, you know, somebody that you know and trust, and, you know, just kind of form a buddy system with them, and just, you know, hey, do you have a minute to talk to me about this, and walk me through it, and, you know, what would you suggest? And just, you know, that's where I've learned more from agents around me than I have in any other way.
Well, I feel that's been a little bit hard. That was hard, a little bit difficult to do before Troy came on board. I feel like there wasn't any real person that I was besides the Thursday evening coaching options that they offer, which I took up on. But when you have a listing, or you need all this information right now, and a lot of it. So I felt like it was not anyone I was directed to go to that I could call and be, ask that question to, and you don't know anyone. So who would you wouldn't even know who to approach. And
that's why I say you need to form relationships with it. And it's hard because you're in London, right?
Yeah. It's definitely more difficult. So probably I would do more farming out this way than in the Dublin area, but I go to Columbus a lot for things, so that's not totally inconvenient for me to work out of that office. But and then mostly you can do what you need to do from home, I find. But I just love the one thing COVID has done is put a lot more out there on Zoom for us. So that I don't have to run all the way to Columbus, into Dublin to take a training class. I hope they keep this up, because I feel like this is way more accessible than it is for, and that you can either go listen to it later on the YouTube channel, when you way more flexible for our schedules as realtors.
Yeah, I understand. And that is something that we've, if I can speak from the education committee, that is something that we've been tossing around with, even before COVID hit. Is like, can we record these and put them on somewhere? So yeah, we do. We definitely hear that. We hear that a lot from agents who aren't in the office. And I think some of us that are in the office, we get a little spoiled because we're there, we're there and we can go knock on someone's door. But if you're not in the office, you can't really do that. So I would say definitely hop on calls, get on a committee, become a part of the office, get involved, get engaged, come to the office meetings, when we're back in person again, make your face known, pick up the phone, call the members of the ALC. Anybody, any of us are more than willing to help and be available to you. And I know that Troy is still going to be available and still going to be hugely helpful, even when he's not the team leader anymore. So we're here for you. And a lot of people don't really know that, but that's really that's a part of our culture, is to be there for each other. So call me, call anybody. It doesn't matter.
So much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I would say if you're considering being on a team, that's going to help you out a whole lot too. Being a new agent, and this is Lisa Evelinn talking. This is not AOC. This is not Lisa Evelinn. Okay. I don't know how agents do it by themselves, not being on a team, starting out brand new. The only reason why I was able to be successful is because I was an admin for like 10 months prior to starting. And I was an education junkie. My first year, I think I had over 90 credit hours of classes.
Nice.
Because I was not playing. I needed to know and I needed to learn. And so yeah, I'd go to every single class you can get your hands on. Get in the training, read the MREA, read Shift, read it all, listen to it all, read it all, and get involved and start talking to agents in the office. Get on a committee. Every little function you can go to, every time there's something going on at the office, try to get here, talk to agents that have that experience. But not being on a team, if I had to do it all over again and I wasn't an admin, there'd be no way I'd be out here trying to do this by myself.
Well, and I feel like that's maybe another hang up for newbies, because newbies actually can have quite a, big farm of people or sphere of influence and people are ready to use them. But as a newbie, you're like, oh my Lord, I'm not sure I'm the right person, even because I just started. I don't even know. I actually did that. I turned down my girlfriend. She goes, I want you to sell our house or find us a house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just started. And, so I feel like I'm not the best person. And so I totally just lost that business. And I didn't even know who to direct her to. So I was just feeling overwhelmed. So I totally lost that deal. And now I wish I would have been the one, to help her find her house.
Gosh, those are the perfect opportunities, because number one, they already know you, they already like you, they already trust you, right? If they know
and I'm like, I totally threw that business away, but I wonder how many other newbies are doing that, because
I hate that I'm just now talking to you, because I could have walked you through that whole thing. Yeah, don't ever do that again.
I feel like newbies need to be told that when they're coming on, like that's part of the training. Just say, because they have a sphere of influence already, and that those things get just totally lost, because those newbies don't know how to handle this new, may feel overwhelmed and don't know. So I feel like that's part of the onboarding that ought to happen. Like, and if you have somebody that wants to use you right away and you don't feel here's the direction you go, and
let me give you some kudos though, because there's a lot of people that just would have taken it, even though they knew that they didn't know what they were doing. They would have taken it just to make the money. So that shows your heart And
Yeah.
that shows that you have good intentions for people. So I applaud you for that. I really do. But don't ever throw away a piece of business again.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
Get
feel
some
like
help.
maybe I'm probably not the only person. I'm maybe only one talking to you about it right now. But I'm wondering how
Yeah.
many other movies that's happened to.
Yeah.
And they don't. And now things I do think the pipeline to information has improved since I came on board. I say I'm a newbie, but I actually came in agent like in 2017. And it's just been a real slow process because
Gotcha.
then I got roped into helping my fiance do some things in his business that he needed me for. Otherwise, I'd rather be doing this actually.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's been
Way more fun, I'm sure. I don't know what your fiance's business is, but this business is super fun and
not fun at all. Working in a factory basically and distribution center. So yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I'll help you with this for now, but thankfully it's going away soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, you're in the right place, Karen. I'll tell you, you're in the right place. You're in the right office. You're around the right people. I left Keller Williams and then came back because of the culture.
Let's hear that from a few people that I've talked to. Same thing.
Yeah, you get out there and you realize like, not everybody feels the same way, and not everybody practices the same things. So, the help that I've gotten from agents in this industry and in this company is by far the best I've ever known.
That's very assuring and awesome to hear. So
yeah,
congrats to you.
Call me if you need anything, if you have any questions, you need to run something by somebody, always feel free to any of the ALC members. We are always willing to help, and any of the agents. I mean, I'm sure any of the experienced agents are always going to be willing to help. But yeah, if you need help with something or if you want to run through, people call me all the time. So I don't mind it. It's not a problem to me at all.
I'm sorry I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'll start my video. I just want to not alarm you. So you can recognize me later. But I might be frightful looking. I think this is right. Hi.
Hi.
No makeup and bad hair day.
No,
So
you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, always call me. Call me if you need some help. Call anybody on the ALC. I mean, do you know how to get to the roster?
Roster. When you say roster.
MyKW.
Yeah. Well,
let me show you how to get there.
Okay.
mykw.kw.com. Have you been here?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I have sold my son a house. That's been one of my only deals, and I have a listing right now that I got early on. But that's very complicated. So I may be calling you about that one. But I did get an opportunity to sell my son a house, find a house for him and get him in one, and where he wasn't even thinking about he's only 28, even about thinking about buying a house. But he was renting an apartment, a tiny little one bathroom apartment in Hilliard and spending $950 a month. And I'm like, what are you doing? You said your mortgage you can get twice as much house and a yard for your dog, and your mortgage will be less than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No idea. Youngsters that age have no idea. They think it's so unattainable, and you're going to need this great big down payment. And so I got super excited when I started realizing how many younger into single kids like in his category.
So that should be a thing for you. Like, you can teach them all how to do that.
And he's got in his house and he pays his mortgages. He had a good down payment, so that was good. But at $40,000, but even without it, I think he still would have, been okay and found a way to get it done.
Yeah.
With the first time home buyer programs that are out there and things. But, he's so happy. He's got a place in Worthington and with a yard for his dog, and so yes, this has been the best thing for him. So
good.
Yeah, I thought about that too when I really get going. I wanted help these people that have no idea. I mean, all of us other people I talk to, and or even friends of mine, I don't have enough down payment, or something, my credit's not great right now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, you don't will be actually quite surprised how quickly you can get your credit straightened out. And,
Yep.
and there are all these programs for first-time home buyers and how interest rates are really low right now. A really great time to buy. I remember my parents talking about, I'm sorry, I won't keep you any longer, talking about interest rates being, and I turned 60 this year. But so I was quite young back then, interest rates being, I feel like they said like 17%. So all their money was going just to pay on the interest rate. Nothing was even going towards paying on the principal.
Yeah.
And how frustrated they were about that. Of being a little kid and hearing them talk about this in the back of their They would both faint if they realized what interest rates, and they've passed away, but like
and houses were much cheaper back then too. You know, that's the other side of it. Like, yeah, but you only paid $30,000 for your house.
Going to pay it down. It was all going towards just paying interest.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's real quick. You go here to My Market Center.
Yeah.
If you can,
Perfect.
right here. This is just how I do it. There's other ways to get to it, but this is how I do it. My internet is super slow.
Do you have Spectrum?
AT&T.
AT&T, okay.
Yeah. So go to, I think you can, hold on. I think it's Market Center. Or it might be Associates. Maybe it's Associates. Sorry, you go to Associates.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can look up people.
Oh, great.
Or you can
Perfect. Yeah. That's and I've just been doing this part-time. So I actually kind of knew this at one point, but then but not that specific step, but I knew to go to Market Center and look around, and there's all kinds of great information there to get started with. But I didn't remember about that step. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And we have how many agents at that office?
289.
And I'm like, where are they all? When I would go to the office, I'm like, where are these 300 agents? And then I went to one of the Christmas parties that they had like the first year, and I'm like, wow, look at all these people, but you never see
Yep. There they all are.
Where are those 300 agents? But they were all at the party.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot of them have their other different offices or work from their home and don't.
There's a lot of agents that work from home.
Mm-hmm.
I can't work from home. I don't get anything done.
Well, I have found that too. So it's easy to get distracted.
It is.
So
very easy.
Stuff that needs to be done, or all the animals barking and clamoring for my attention. We have here.
Absolutely. So coming to the office for me is extremely helpful.
Yeah, help you to focus.
Yeah. Well, Karen, it was nice meeting you.
Thank you so much. So nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, just call me. Call me if you need anything. I'm willing to help. No problem.
Oh, I so appreciate that.
No problem.
Probably won't be calling you right away, but yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just don't want you throwing away business.
Yeah, boy, that was.
Don't do that again.
Best girlfriend too, and I'm like, oh darn, I wish I would have been the one to do that, to help her find her place. But gosh, I know I've lost my train of thought. Oh, when is a good time to call you?
Anytime. I'm always working, and if I can't answer you, then I'll answer you soon enough.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. It's so
You're
great
welcome.
to meet you.
Yeah, you too. You too.
You're
if you have any
doing
questions
okay out there with all this COVID craziness going on? Everyone well?
Yeah, my family's fine. We haven't been affected at all, so knock on wood.
Yeah,
we're doing pretty good. Yeah, luckily. How about you? How about your family?
Yeah, same here too. I was starting to wonder if it was just a whole scam.
Well, I do know people that have gotten it. Like I went to visit one of my clients yesterday, and their sister and their son got it. So it's real.
Yeah. And they're okay though,
They're
or?
okay. And the sister was older. She was in her
Okay.
60s, so like late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a mess right now.
it is. But
Mhm.
you know, luckily, I think they're learning how to handle it. They're learning how to treat it, so it's not killing as many people.
Yeah.
You know, so it's only it can hopefully it will get better and it won't get worse.
Yes, definitely.
Hope for the
Looking
best.
forward to, yeah.
Yeah.
I just miss not being able to see my own family and friends, right? Just,
Mhm.
well, I don't know, you might bring the COVID, right? It's like,
So,
okay, I mean, how many years could this go on? I'm not going to go a whole year not seeing my own adult children because, you know, I'm so, but just, yeah, just, anyway.
okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Karen. You're welcome. See
Great.
ya.
Take care.
Bye, Jason. I was gonna call you James, but Jason. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.